This man right here is Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States. And about 240 years ago, Mr. Franklin was famously quoted as saying this about the possible dissolving of our republic: "When the people find that they can vote themselves money, that will herald the end of the republic." Now, there is some debate about whether or not this quote really came from Mr. Franklin, but regardless of its origin, this was a real concern among the founding fathers. The idea that people would eventually realize that they can acquire money by pulling the correct lever on election day. And of course, the corollary to that is that politicians then use money to entice people to vote for them. And wouldn't you know it, with the midterm elections coming up in just about 80 days, states around the nation are sending out a new round of stimulus checks. Now, of course, these checks are being billed as inflation relief money, but to be frank with you, the idea of trying to fight inflation by giving out cash is like trying to put out a fire by pouring gasoline on it. Regardless, though, let's go through the states together one by one, starting with California, where millions of people will soon be receiving inflation relief checks. Specifically, these checks will range somewhere between $350 all the way up to $1,050, depending on your filing status, as well as the size of your household. And so, a single taxpayer in California who earned less than $75,000 a year, as well as couples who filed jointly who make less than $150,000 a year, will receive $350 per taxpayer, as well as another $350 if they have any dependents. Therefore, a married couple with children could receive as much as $1,050. Now, if you do earn more than that range, you can still get a stimulus payment, although it will be gradually lower. I'll throw all the related details down into the description box below so that you can dig into the weeds for yourself. Then let's move on over to the state of Colorado, where the governor there recently signed into law a piece of legislation called the Colorado Cashback Bill. This will give citizens within the state who are at least 18 years of age a tax rebate of $750 per individual tax filer or $1,500 for joint filers. These checks will be sent out by September the 30th as long as the taxpayer filed their return by June 30th. Anyone who received an extension and files their return by October the 17th will receive their refund by January 31st of next year. Then over in the state of Delaware, Governor John Carney recently approved what's known as the Delaware Relief Rebate Program. This program will be sending out $300 stimulus checks to all Delaware residents who filed their 2020 tax returns. And for this program, even if two people file jointly, each person will still receive an individual separate payment. And for your reference, these payments started going out about 3 months ago, back in May. Then over in the state of Florida, around 59,000 families will receive a one-time inflation reduction payment, which comes in the form of a $450 check. In order to qualify for this program, families must already be receiving financial assistance from the state, meaning that they must already be on welfare, or they must be a foster parent, or they must be a caregiver that participates in the guardianship assistance program. That really, over in the state of Georgia, the governor there recently signed into law a new bill, which authorizes rebates to be sent out to taxpayers who filed their state returns for both 2020 and 2021. And then in terms of the amount, single taxpayers received $250 in May, with heads of the household getting $375 and married couples filing jointly getting $500. Then over in the state of Idaho, Governor Brad Little signed a bill into law last February, which will give a whopping $75 to each taxpayer and dependent, or 12% of their 2020 state income tax return, whichever of the two is greater. These checks have already been going out starting in March. Then, over in the state of Illinois, individual taxpayers who earned less than $200,000 in 2021 will receive a whopping $50 tax rebate, while couples filing jointly with a combined income of under $400,000 will receive a $100 rebate. And then on top of that, taxpayers can also get $100 for every dependent that they claim on their 2021 taxes, up to 3 dependents, meaning that theoretically a couple in Illinois with 3 kids can get a refund of as much as $400. Then over in the state of Indiana, because of their automatic taxpayer refund law, citizens are automatically eligible for a $125 rebate regardless of income. These direct deposit payments started going out 3 months ago, back in May. However, there were about 1.7 million taxpayers within the state who did not provide their banking information to the government, and so they were waiting for paper checks to be mailed to them. However, according to the governor of Indiana, due to a paper supply problem, the checks have been delayed and have yet to be sent out. And during this waiting period, the Indiana state legislature actually tacked on another $200 to each check, meaning that the combined payments of $325 for individuals or $650 for married couples filing jointly will be included in one paper check due to be mailed out sometime this month. Thus far, though, it's not exactly clear when the direct deposit recipients will receive their extra $200 that was just approved. Then, over in the state of Maine, taxpayers who've already filed their 2021 state tax returns and have an adjusted gross income of less than $100,000 are eligible for an $850 direct relief payment. Furthermore, within the state of Maine, couples filing jointly will receive a single payment of $1,700. Then, over in the state of Minnesota, frontline workers are eligible to receive a one-time payment of $750. These include people like emergency responders, healthcare staff, as well as people who work in retail. Then, over in the state of New Jersey, the governor there recently signed a bill which will see about 2 million New Jersey households getting a property tax rebate. Specifically, homeowners who make less than $150,000 will receive $1,500 rebates on their property taxes. Homeowners who make between $150,000 and $250,000 will receive a $1,000 payment, and renters who earn up to $150,000 will receive $450 checks. Although at the moment, it's not exactly clear when these stimulus checks will arrive, with the New Jersey State Treasury spokesperson only saying that it will be no later than May of next year, May of 2023. That over in the state of New Mexico, the government there is issuing a tax rebate to all taxpayers in the amount of $500 for individual filers and $1,000 checks for joint filers, heads of the household, and surviving spouses. These payments have been broken up into two parts, with the first check having been sent out in June, and the second one is supposedly going out in August. And the reason I say supposedly is because some people are still waiting for their June checks to arrive. Regardless, over in the state of New York, about 3 million homeowners are slated to receive a property tax rebate of up to $1,050. Now, the scale of how much people actually receive varies based on income, but it looks like the average homeowning household in New York is receiving about $425. Then, over in the state of Pennsylvania, over 260,000 senior homeowners, renters, as well as people with disabilities started receiving payments as a part of the state's property tax and rent rebate program. According to the Department of Revenue, the maximum standard rebate is $650. However, with supplemental rebates for homeowners who qualify, it can boost that payment amount all the way up to $975. Then, over in the state of South Carolina, all residents who pay taxes will receive a check in the mail, with the amount increasing based on their tax liability all the way up to $800 per individual. These rebates are being issued per person, regardless of whether you filed jointly or individually. Then, over in the state of Virginia, taxpayers will receive a one-time check this upcoming fall. Individual filers will receive a $250 check, while married couples who file jointly will receive a $500 check. And then lastly, over in the state of Hawaii, residents who earned under $100,000 in 2021, or $200,000 if they filed jointly, will receive a $300 tax rebate, with dependents being eligible for the rebate as well. Meaning that if you are a qualifying family of 4 living in Hawaii, you could receive as much as $1,200. Now, if you'd like more information about any of these programs and any of the states that we went through, I'll throw the details for each one down into the description box below this video so you can look them up for greater detail. However, as you do, please just keep in mind that the government doesn't actually have any of its own money. They have either our money that they collected through taxes, or they borrowed money with interest from the Federal Reserve, which you, me, and our kids will eventually have to pay back. And so just remember that as you're receiving your stimulus, that there's no such thing as a truly free lunch. And that is being, well, more and more widely recognized. For instance, there was a great interview over on a network that is very typically friendly to the administration. And in the interview, they called out the, you can say, Orwellian language that the Inflation Reduction Act is being couched in. And, well, the answer from the spokesperson of the White House didn't exactly clarify anything. Take a listen.
But let me ask you, it's called the Inflation Reduction Act. But the Congressional Budget Office, which is nonpartisan, said that there would be a negligible impact on inflation this year and barely impact inflation at all next year. I mean, isn't it almost Orwellian? How can you call it Inflation Reduction Act when the nonpartisan experts say it's not going to?
So I appreciate that. I appreciate the question. We've actually addressed this, the CBO. It was the top line number. There's more in there that shows that it will have the money from. Remember how we're doing this too. It's making sure that billionaires in corporate America are paying their fair share, making sure that the tax code is a little bit more fair. And so when you do that, when you put it in its totality, totality, you will see that it will bring down, lower the deficit, which will help fight inflation.
Now, again, if you want to go deeper into any of the states that we went through thus far, the links will all be down in the description box below. And also let me know, did I miss any states? Are there any stimulus programs within the state you live in that I maybe didn't list out? Leave them in the comment section below. I'm sure it'll help someone. And then until next time, I'm your host, Roman from the Epoch Times. Stay informed, and most importantly, stay free.